We will look at question 5 of exercise 7b. Consider the following number pattern. So term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4, and so on until term n. So for part 1, they want us to write down the fifth line in the pattern. So I will have to observe the pattern that we have here. Okay, so the fifth line will be 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9. And then I will go on to add the next odd number, 11. Okay, so you can do your calculation. So 25, the previous line, plus 11 will give me 36, which is actually 6 square, which is 5 plus 1 square. So this is the fifth line in the pattern. So make sure you observe the pattern before writing the fifth line down. Let's go on to part 2. Given that B is 169. Okay, so they're telling us that B here is 169. We have to find the values of A, C, and D. Okay, so if you observe the pattern for B, okay, all along the same line as B, we realize that these are our perfect squares. So I know that B equals to 169. So I actually have 13 square. Okay, so how do I relate to the other values here? So C here, for example, is equals to 13 because C square is equals to B. So I conclude that C is 13. Then this will lead me to D because D plus 1 will give me a C. So therefore, D is just 12 because D is 1 less than C. Then let's work backwards, okay, to find A. So how is A related to B? Now just now as I was doing the fifth line, remember how I get this number 11? I actually made use of 25 to add 11 to give me 36. And 25 is actually a perfect square that is 1 less. Okay, so I actually will have A is equals to 169 minus, so 169 is actually 13 square minus 12 square, which is the pattern in front. So I have 169 minus 144, and that will give me 25. So the value of A is 25. So I would sum up. A is 25, C is 13, and D is 12. All this just by observing the pattern. So the answer that you found for part 1, the thought process is very important to help you find for part 2. Let's go on to part 3. Will there be a line in the pattern where A is 86868? I will have to now explain my answer. Now for part 3, it might look a little bit intimidating because the number is very big. But we will have to stay calm and let's take a look at the pattern that we have. For the first part of the pattern that we have, we see that we are adding consecutive odd numbers. So it's 1 plus 3, then you have to add a 5, then add a 7 to the next one, add a 9, and so on and so forth. So we recognize the pattern that we are adding consecutive odd numbers. So consecutive odd numbers are being added to the previous term to form the next term. So can A be 86868? Obviously it cannot be, because A needs to be an odd number. So I will say that A cannot be 86868 because 86868 is not an odd number. That's all. This is my answer for question number 5.